接下来是我们2009 ARM 领袖论坛。在今天领袖论坛活动中，我们很荣幸地邀请到产业界多位重量级的领袖贵宾莅临现场，与各位剖析现今行动装置应用与发展趋势，并分享如何掌握核心竞争力、社群协力及消费者洞察力3大力量。首先，向各位介绍我们今天论坛的主持人。美银美林证券管理总监 Andrew Griffin。Andrew 目前任职于美银美林证券，担任管理总监一职，负责手持装置产业分析。他对半导体产业也有非常深入的了解。Let's welcome Andrew Griffin。接下来我们参加这次领袖论坛的与会者包括 Mr. Tudor Brown, President ARM。Mr. Bob Krisiak, Greater China General Manager, ST Microelectronics. Mr. Jeremy Xu, General Manager, BU1 Pegatron. Mr. Li Fengchen, General Manager, Google Taiwan. Mr. Roger Chen, Vice President, Innovation of Product and Service, Far Eastern Telecommunication.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much for coming along to the panel session. I hope we have a very stimulating set of questions and even more stimulating answers from the team. Excuse me, my headset's coming off here. We're going to split this into 4 sub-sessions, and the first one will be to look into the generic question of what are the core competencies that we need to succeed in the new mobile computing era. I think it's clear that the strengths that made Taiwan such a powerhouse in the electronics industry are becoming more copied worldwide, and we need to move to some new core competencies. In particular, the concentration on your own particular company's value add, partnership with other companies is becoming far more important. And then finally, customer insight. How do we actually see what the customer needs and what the customer requirements are? And each of the guests we have up on the panel today are at different portions of the value chain. Some are closer to the customer and some are closer to the technology end. So I wanted to ask each panelist in turn, starting with Tudor Brown of ARM, how they see the importance of these 3 new strengths that are required. Is it necessary to have all of the strengths, or is it possible to focus just on one of them for your particular portion in the supply chain?
Thank you, Andrew. I don't think it's necessary for every company to have all those strengths. There are many specialist companies in the value chain. It so happens that in ARM's case, we do have all those strengths. As a technology company, obviously we have our core competence. We spend over $100 million a year on R&D, and I would like to think that increases our core competence. Of course, ARM stands for partnership. The ARM connected community, more than 650 members at the moment. I think that is a good indication of how we work in partnership. And then because of that partnership, we are very well connected to the end customers. And so I'd like to think that we also have a lot of insight into what is needed and what is coming down the line. So I think in our case, we do happen to have all of those 3, but I don't think it's necessarily necessary.
Bob from ST, what are your views?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. From a semiconductor perspective, our fundamental core competence, of course, is as an IDM, an integrated design and manufacturing company, the base technologies for semiconductor technology in CMOS, logic, analog, and power devices, for example. So we have a strong base of fundamental technology in semiconductors, strong, obviously, manufacturing base. We're able to manufacture those carefully, but we don't need to always own the IP that we may integrate in terms of system integration for the customer. So for us, we see ourselves as obviously an IDM, in some cases where we own everything, the core competence is semiconductors, and we do everything from design to manufacture. And in some cases, we obviously need to partner with smaller organizations, smaller companies, or licensed technology and system integrate. So we become the system integrator that used to be the box builder in the previous generation. That's the way we see it. Okay, so our core competence is becoming more system integration, supply chain management, and of course, and developing the base technology which the customer doesn't actually see these days. Okay.
So we've just heard from the upstream end of the supply chain. Moving into the middle, Pegatron, you sit between the end vendors, the end markets, and the component companies. How do you see things changing with the required strengths for the new markets ahead?
I think I have the privilege to speak in Mandarin, right? Okay. 我先自我介绍一下哈，我是和硕联合科技公司，那去年才从华硕分出来一个子公司了哈。那刚刚讲的就是说 core competency， 其实还有一些是就我们今天讲的主题些哈，主题就是 collaboration 好分那个 community， 还有那个 insights。那我觉得这个三者是一定要一起具备，我才能够有竞争力啦哈。刚刚讲说 core competency， 基本上就讲自己的实力。好，就是说在我们这个业界呢，我们是刚好在整个 supply chain 里面的当中那一环哈，可能靠近下游一点，但在当中，但是也就是说最 bloody 的。好，每次大家在报纸上面看到就是说，上肥下瘦，我们就那个下瘦的那一块了哈，就是 margin 是最低的，就是说怎么样子让自己更有竞争力的那个core competence 就相当重要。就是说在我们公司呢，在硬体、在软体、在各方面的发展哈，这个大家是有目共睹。那另外一个就是说 collaboration of community 呢，是要用在外在的一些最好的、最 available 的一些技术，我们把外在最好的 available 的技术呢，然后运用在我们自己的产品上面。那再下来就是 insights， 那 insights 就是客人的需求，那客人需要什么东西，我们要很了解的情况之下，我们就做系统整合，做出一个大家很想要而且很有竞争力的产品，大概是这样子。谢谢。
Thank you very much. And now we're moving to the true customer-facing end of the panel. Firstly, Li Feng, General Manager of Google Taiwan. What are your views on these changes?
我一样有这个 advantage， 就讲中文哦。刚刚可能大家因为我比较 lucky 一点，我有跟大家介绍一个我们在 mobile internet 的看法，还有 Google 的一些经验。所以 Google 的核心竞争力，我想是我们在过去11年来所建立的 cloud computing 的整个 infrastructure。我们另外一个竞争力就是有那么多的 user 支持一个 open environment， 就是一个开放的环境，那使得让 Google 有一个很成功的 business model， 就是我们广告模式。这个广告模式带给的最大的价值是我们的工程师可以尽情的创新，因为你做的任何应用，你不用管它赚不赚钱，只要有人用就会赚钱。这跟看电视一样，做节目，有人看那就非常好。所以这是我们的核心竞争力。但这个竞争力，我们自己期许自己建构的是一个开放的平台。这个平台不是只有 Google 自己，不管在搜寻、在 Internet 的 service、在 mobile 环境，我们自己成功。我们也希望所有的参与者 user、developer、manufacturer， 我们大家都可以一起努力。这也是我们刚刚看到的整 mobile internet 的机会，这个机会是属于大家的。那我想，这也就是 Google 的开放跟创新的核心竞争力。谢谢。